All right, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this. If you're watching this live, congratulations for jumping on today. This is going to be life-changing for you. Have you ever looked at some people and wonder, how is it that they have everything together? How is it that they're in shape, they're healthy? How is it they have a great family life? How is it they have a great business? How is it they have lots of money? Well, first thing I would say is we shouldn't compare ourselves to others. That steals your own joy. But that's another Mojo Call for another day. Here is the reason they have their life together. It's because they have goals, and they have very specific goals, and they have written specific goals, and then they have the action plans in place. This is the key that most people miss to make those happen. So for those of you guys jumping on the real estate team, you know who I am, Jim Lambright. If you're watching this on YouTube or the inner zones out there, welcome. We're going to be talking today about how you can change your life seemingly overnight. Now, I didn't come up with this. I'm a student of a guy named Brian Tracy, and we're actually going to be using his materials to go through this. But there is a ton of scientific data behind goal setting. Here's what most of us do. We set goals like this. A lot of times, most people do it on New Year's Eve, right? They clink their champagne glass together and say, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to quit smoking. I'm going to make more money. That's on January 1st. And by the 3rd, 4th, or 5th of January, and definitely by the first week in February, all those goals have crashed and burned, right? Because they're not goals, they're just wishes. It is very important that you follow a scientific, systematic process to set up your goals so that you can win. See, our brains are just a computer. They're just a computer, and what we put into it, that computer will sort out and put out to us. And so when we say something very vague, like my goal is I want to be rich, it sounds great, but it's just a wish to that computer that you have on your brain. And so we're going to go through that today. And I'm not sure how long it's going to take. It's going to take however long it takes, but I have some great materials for you. First of all, in the chat box, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll put it down in the description. There is a 14-step goal setting guide that you can download. You can download it now if you want, or you can do it later towards the end. You're going to put in your email. In fact, it's going to look like this. Let me share the screen. When you get to that link, it's going to look like this. They're going to have you put in your email. He's going to ask your name. And then, yes, later he's going to try to sell you stuff. But for right now, this is going to be free, the 14 steps. And we're actually going to go through it today. So you don't have to memorize it, write it down. Just kind of stay present with where we're going. Maybe jot a couple notes here and there. But you're going to be able to go back and download this so you'll have it for yourself. So that's what it's going to look like. So the man we're talking about, his name's Brian Tracy. I'm the type of guy that likes proof. Like when I was first presented with the idea of written goals can change your life, it sounded very hocus pocusy to me. Oh, can I put the link in the chat? Yep. Let me try to put the, hang on one second. Oh, that didn't work. Yes, I'm going to put that link in the chat. Hang on. I thought it went through. Hang on one second here. It's probably because you guys came on afterwards. 1 second. That's a good call. Let me try it. Paste. Let me know if you can see that one. Give me a thumbs up on that if you can, and we'll be good to go. It should be in the chat now. All right. So beautiful. So Brian Tracy, I was introduced to him, and I'm the type of person that likes proof, right? I like to know the scientific reason behind something. I have to convince my brain that it'll work before I will try it, right? And so I studied this guy on this. It was called, this is Audible right here, but it was called the Ultimate Goals Program. It was an 8-hour course. You can get it on Audible, or you can purchase it if you want, but it explains the scientific reason behind why it works. Then once I convinced my brain why it worked, then I was going to take the steps to do it. I'm not going to get into the why part because there's a whole study with Harvard and all this different things as to why. Just understand this. If you like the short condensed version, this goal setting guide that I'm going to go through with you is how you do it. But you can go and order him on Audible if you need the convincing like I do. I'm a pretty skeptical guy when it comes to stuff, but it worked great. All right, so let's get into, hang on 1 second here. I'm going to share my screen. Let's get into the 14 steps. So you're going to download it. It's going to come to you, and it's going to look like this, right? The 14 steps. Let me make sure I'm screen sharing, make sure you can see it. And you're going to get this. And so the first thing you need to understand about goals is this. If you want to get somewhere, 2 things have to happen. First of all, you have to know where you're going. That's the first step in goal setting. The reason most people live lives of quiet desperation and never really achieve anything fulfilling, they have a fulfilled life, right? Is because they don't know where they want to go. And then if they do know where they want to go, I want to make $1 million a year. That's their goal. That's where they want to go. Okay, I'm just picking that out of the air. They don't have the steps in place and the action plan to support those steps to get there. Okay, so number one, you got to know where you're going. All of you are on here today. By the end of today, you're going to know where you're going. And you're also going to be able to work on formulating the steps. And then you're going to put those steps into place. Why are we meeting in December, right? Goal setting time should happen in January. We're going to find out that the planning and preparation it takes to create your goals needs to happen ahead of time before you implement them. For people that wait until January 1st to set their goals, right, their New Year's resolutions, I'm using air quotes if you're listening to this on our podcast, the reason that doesn't work is because you're already a month behind. You should be planning out for small business owners like us, and most everybody on here is real estate agents. You should be planning out next month, a month in advance. And when your business gets really going, you should be planning out your business a quarter in advance, like knowing exactly what you're doing that month, what your steps are. You're going to see all that here in a second, okay? So this formulation came from people way back, all the way back to like Earl Nightingale and Napoleon Hill. The primary reason for failure is that people do not develop new plans to replace those plans that didn't already work. Think about that. People will do the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. It's the definition of insanity. So Brian talks about 3 things that happened in his life that were turning points. Number one thing is this: personal responsibility. Our world is in a place where no one takes responsibility for anything. They don't take responsibility for their actions. They don't take responsibility for their health. Everything is someone else's fault. And I've been studying a Navy SEAL. His name's Jocko Willink, and he has a thing called extreme ownership. And what that means is everything in your life that happens is your fault. When you learn to take ownership of every single thing, oh, I was late to work because I got a flat tire. So most people would say it's the flat tire's fault. No, I was late to work because I didn't go out and do a safety check on my car to make sure that the tires were in great shape to do that. Oh, anyways, so that's another mojo call for another time. We are responsible for everything in our life. Once you accept complete responsibility, your whole life begins to change. You're going to understand. So that's step number one. For all of you who are on here, you understand that. You are here for this, okay? That's the starting point. Before that, nothing changes. So you're here. Congratulations. If you're watching this, that's great. The second turning point was knowing this, is that if you have things you want to accomplish, you have to write them down. Now, I'm not going to get into the science behind it, but you have to write it down. You cannot have it in your head and expect for it to happen. It has to be written down. They talk about all the neuroscience, about how your brain is and hand are connected, and why having it on a sheet of paper and being able to read it every day helps bring in the law of attraction. That's all in his book, his 8-hour book. That mojo call will be way too long, so we're going to assume that you understand that. They must be written down. If they're not written down, they are a wish. You have very little chance of getting them. Just know that. And he gets into the science behind it with the Harvard Business School study and everything that they did. Okay. The third turning point in your life and in his life is this. I love this. You can learn anything you need to learn to accomplish any goal you can set for yourself. No one is smarter than you, and no one is better than you. All business skills, sales skills, and money-making skills are learnable. Everything you need to do, you already have. You just have to go out and learn it, but you have to have a plan in place to get there. And that's what you're going to get today. And you're going to be very grateful you jumped on this call and check this out. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube or whatever, hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you want more stuff like this, and also throw a nice comment down in there in the section that helps the algorithm. All right, onward and upward. Okay, with the goal setting process, you have to decide exactly what you want in every key area of your life. Here's what a lot of people do. They just set business goals. They just set health goals. When I say just, they're way ahead of everybody else by setting that goal, but your life is like a wheel. It's like a wheel, and the different goals you have in life, the different pillars in your life are the spokes in the wheel. What happens on a bike if one of the spokes or two of the spokes is broken? What happens if you try to ride that bike? Of course, it doesn't go, right? The wheel ends up flat on one side, and you end up wrecking. You need to have a well-rounded life and goals for all parts of your life. What's he recommend? He recommends having an income goal. Of course, income drives everything. You need to have a family goal. What type of lifestyle do you want to create for yourself and your family? Look, if income and business is going great, but your family life is crap, let me tell you what, it can make everything crap for sure, okay? You need to have a health goal. Health is the number one thing. Who cares if you're the richest person in the graveyard? Doesn't matter. You need to take care of your health. It needs to be a priority. And of course, net worth. Not just making money, but how do I build net worth so I have a legacy to leave behind for my family, okay? So he has a great exercise that you'll do later, and it's called the 3-goal method. And this is awesome. You'll be amazed at how accurate this is. The 3-goal method. Without thinking about it, and in less than 30 seconds, so that's 10 seconds per sentence, you have to fly to do it. Write down your 3 most important goals in your life right now. And what will happen is when you write those down, you'll get an accurate picture of what you really want in life. That was awesome. I did that live with him, first time I ever had that happen. And it was really cool to see over the years, those things come true and come to fruition, okay? Number 2. You must write it down. Your goals must be in writing. You have got to write them down. I don't know why it is. I'm just telling you, it's what it is. As Jim Rohn says, you know, why does the sun rise in the east? Well, it's Columbus, Ohio today, so it's gray in December. But why does the sun rise in the east? I wouldn't sign up for that class. Why does it do it? It just does. That's the way it is, okay? But your goals must be in writing. They must be clear, specific, detailed, and measurable. In fact, we're going to use the acronym here in a little bit called SMART, and I'll put it in the chat box. Specific, measurable, attainable, results-oriented, time-bound. I'll write those down a little bit so you don't have to like, what? What did he say on that? Okay? Only 3% of adults have written goals, and everyone else works for them, okay? Pretty great. And that's it's amazing. Not all of us that are on here are entrepreneurs. We want to work for ourselves. We don't want to work for someone else, right? We could go get the cubicle job. And by the way, if you have a corporate job and love your job, that's great. If you want to ascend the corporate ladder, then this video is going to be for you as to how to work that through, okay? But you must write out your goals as if you were placing an order for your goal to be manufactured in a factory at a great distance. Your description must be clear and detailed in every sense. I'll give you an example of a bad goal. I want to be rich. I want to be rich. That's not a goal. That's a wish, right? I want to sell more houses in 2023 than I did in 2022. It's a wish, not a goal. You might get there, but you have no plan in place to make it happen. You're wishing and hoping for it to happen. Your goals must be in writing. Most people won't do it. In fact, a bunch of you, according to the stats that are on here, will not do it. You will, you'll hear it, but you won't do it. It's a weird thing about human beings, why we will know something, but we won't do it. Very weird, very weird. Okay, set a deadline. Your subconscious mind uses deadlines as forcing systems to drive you consciously and unconsciously toward achieving your goal on schedule. If your goal is big enough, set sub-deadlines. Okay. The deadlines part, which is what we're going to talk about in the SMART goals, right? Time bound. You have a time set as to when you're going to do it. And then these sub goals that you're going to have, you have to have something to force you to move. There's an old story about a dog. There's 2 guys out in the front yard, and there's this old dog sitting on the front porch. And the old dog's sitting on the front porch. He's sitting there, and he's whining, he's moaning, and he's complaining and everything. And so the one guy says, "Hey, what's wrong with your dog?" He says, "Oh, well, he's whining and moaning and complaining because he's laying on a nail." And the guy says, "Well, why doesn't he just move off the nail?" And the other guy says, "I guess it just doesn't hurt that much yet." Right? And that happens to so many people in life. They'll complain, they'll commiserate, but they just won't get off the nail and make the move, right? There's a great book, by the way, that's going to apply to a lot of realtors. It's called Who Moved My Cheese? It's a one-day read. Who Moved My Cheese? It's talking about the fact that we're going through a shift. The real estate market is shifting, and many would argue, I would probably argue with you, it has shifted. It's already moved. And what's going to happen is a lot of agents who were coasting the last 10 years are going to find out that because they don't have written goals, because they don't have an action plan in place, they're going to be the dinosaurs that are going to go extinct. Because the book talks about who moved my cheese is these mice. Their cheese is always in one spot. There's a ton of it, right? And they always come back to the cheese, always come back to the cheese. And it's always there. Well, one day, the cheese is no longer there. Some of the mice formulate a plan and go to find other cheese, right? To explore, to develop new things. And I won't ruin the book for you, but others keep coming back to the same spot and they just complain the whole time. Who moved the cheese? Who moved my cheese? And you know what ends up happening, right? They end up dying is the way that works. It's a great book. Who Moved My Cheese? Very applicable right now in the real estate as well as probably many other industries that are out there. Let's get back to the goal setting, all right? So here we are. So you're going to set a deadline. Your brain works off deadlines. You have to have it, okay? There are no unreasonable goals, only unreasonable deadlines, right? So if for some reason you don't achieve your goal by the deadline, you simply just set a new one. This is the greatest part about goal setting. When you set your goals, you're going to set them so they're attainable, but you're never going to reach them because you're going to keep resetting the goals. It's a fluid thing. It's not like one thing. It's not static. You don't set it and just leave it there and forget it. No, it's constantly moving and evolving because, as Tony Robbins said, human fulfillment, which is what we all want, right? We all want fulfillment. We want to feel fulfilled in whatever we're doing, does not come from achieving your goal. Let me repeat that. Human fulfillment does not come from achieving your goal. Human fulfillment comes from each day incrementally moving closer and closer and closer to your goal. The rule is this: you should never hit your goal, because once you get close to hitting it, you should be setting another one further out, bigger, stronger, faster, more, a better goal, and moving on. And it's great. And you can do it by just rewriting your goals. You know, some of the most successful people in the world rewrite their goals every day. That's another mojo call for another day. Let's just get you started with your goals. Okay, so we're going to set a deadline in these goals. You're going to identify the obstacles that you will have to overcome to achieve your goal. Why aren't you already at your goal? What's holding you up? Okay, there's a theory of constraints. There is always one limiting factor or constraint that sets the speed at which you achieve your goal. What is it for you? I'm assuming with realtors being on here, whatever industry you guys are in that you're watching, you're probably, one of your big goals is, I want to sell more houses, but have more free time. Would that be a good goal to have? Yes, right? But it's not specific, measurable enough. Is it attainable? Yes. Is it results oriented? Not really. And it's not time bound. We're going to create that goal, but that's a good goal, right? That's an idea. Sell more houses, right? Make more money, right? And have more free time. Whoa, wouldn't that be cool? Well, what is the limiting factor to that? One we can come up with right away. You don't have enough leads. There's one. That's a limiting factor. We don't have enough leads. Ooh, we need to lead generate. Okay. The 80-20 rule applies to constraints. 80% of the reasons that are holding you back from achieving your goal are inside of yourself. Uh-oh, extreme ownership. You are responsible for you. No one is coming to save you. That's a hard thing to think about. No one is going to rescue you. No one. Not your spouse, not your kids, not your best friend, not your company. No one. It is up to you. What's the saying? If it's got to be, it's up to me, right? Once you understand that and realize I am responsible for me on this, your whole life changes, okay? You know, you're lacking a skill, quality, or body of knowledge. Only 20% of the reasons you're not achieving your goal are on the outside. So if you want to blame, let's just go with real estate. You want to blame interest rates. You want to blame there's too many agents. There's not enough market share. All of those things are outside influences and are only 20% of your success level. 80% of it is inside you, and we're going to get that handled with the goal setting, okay? You're going to need to identify the knowledge, information, and skills you will need to achieve your goal. And we're going to break it down. There's a whole process here. We're going to go to it to come up with it. Okay. Only 20, we said this earlier, but it's worth repeating. Only 20% of the reasons you are not achieving your goal are on the outside. Always, 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 always start with yourself. You cannot control the outside influences. You can't control interest rates. You don't know what the Fed's going to do. You don't know what's going to happen with inflation, and you can't control it. That was probably the hardest thing for Stacy and I in 08. By the way, this is people who are watching this. This is not another 08 crash, so don't panic. No PTSD here going on. But that was probably the hardest thing for us, was understanding that, look, the credit was dried up. People were upside down in their homes. It is what it is. We could not control that, but we had to do something inside. So we had to go learn a new skill. And the skill back then is we had to learn short sales. We had to learn how to do it. They sucked. We hated them. They were extra work. They were super confusing. You didn't get paid a lot of times. And when you did get paid, they cut your commission. It was brutal, but we survived, right? When somebody said, who moved the cheese? Who moved my cheese? We went looking for it and we found it. We became one of the top short sale agents in Central Ohio. Anyways, the greatest discovery you'll have is your weakest key skill sets, the height of your income and your success. Now, wait a minute. Did you hear this? Your weakest key skill set, okay? Your weakest key skill sets the height of your income and your success. If you're terrible at prospecting and organic lead generation, that's going to set the height of your income and your success. That is a huge skill for pretty much any business, but especially in real estate, right? You can make more progress by going to work on the one skill that's holding you back than any other. So the key question is this: what one skill, if you developed and did it in an excellent fashion, would have the greatest impact on your life? I would argue this, that he or she who holds the leads has all the power. Because here's what can happen. If you get really good at lead generation in real estate or whatever business you're watching this in, and you have more leads than you can handle, you can cherry pick the leads you want to work with, and now you can farm them out. Now you can build leverage and scalability to your business. Now you can make more money in a down market with agents who are unwilling to have written goals and to generate leads. You can send the leads to them and take a referral cut off of it. Now you're just making more money and getting your time back. Uh-oh, there's your goal. Sell more houses, make more money, get more time. Okay, beautiful. All right. So what one skill, if you develop and did it consistently in excellent fashion, would help you the most to achieve your most important goal? Whatever that skill is, write it down, make a plan, and work on it every single day. We're going to get into that. Number 6, identify the people whose help and cooperation you will require to achieve your goal. Look, you're going to need some help. You're going to need people there. In fact, you might need someone to sit down with you and help you analyze what your biggest hole is in your business. What are you missing? We've been so conditioned in life, especially as Americans, that everything is everyone else's fault. The victim mentality, as Stacey would say, no victims here, right? She gives the V, that's my V sign right there. No victims. We've been ingrained in our culture to blame other people, right? So sometimes you're like, I don't know, I'm doing everything right. It's just not working. That's bullshit. There is a problem, but you can't see it and you're blind. It's okay. Sometimes you have to ask other people. You want to get it, you want to find out really what it is? Ask your kids. They'll tell you what it is. Hey, Dad, you're a procrastinator. Oh, crap. There you go, right? You may not like the answer you get, or worse, ask your spouse. They love you. They probably won't tell you. They'll say, yeah, you need to go get a business coach and ask them. Anyways, let's move on. Okay. Identify the people whose help and cooperation you require to achieve your goal. First of all, who's going to help you find what that is? And then who's going to help you get the skills that you need to create that and to work on that to achieve your goal. Okay. So remember, people that you identify as your key people, what's in it for them, right? He recommends being a go-giver rather than a go-getter, right? Help other people. You help others, and then others help you, and we all help each other. And that's one thing I love about eXp Realty. If you got my eXp Realty shirt on, if you're an agent watching, one of your agent friends sent you this, get back to them and take a look at how we collaborate versus we're competitors. All right, enough of the commercial. Back to the goal setting. Number 7, make a list of everything you will have to do to achieve your goal. Have you get a common theme with this? Writing. in writing with your hand and a pen and paper, writing it down. I know what you're saying. I can type much faster. So can I. He's going to prove to you, if you need proof, that the handwriting part, the human brain that we have as human beings over the years, typing is sort of a newer thing over the last couple hundred years, but we've been writing since we were drawing pictograms on caves way back, way back. The human brain responds to things that you write with your hand. Maybe if you're left-handed, that's your left. This is my right. Okay. Make a list of everything you want to do to achieve your goal, right? Combine the obstacles you have to overcome, the knowledge and skills you have to develop, and the people's cooperation you will require. List every single step that you can think of that you will have to follow to ultimately achieve your goal. As you think of new items, add them to your list until your list is complete, okay? Now, here's something that's very important. When you develop that list, it can seem overwhelming. It can seem insurmountable. In fact, it can be downright discouraging. Just remember this, and this is a great saying, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. If you're going to climb a mountain, you never look at the peak. You don't look at the peak because it's so far up there, your brain says, we can't do that. We're never going to get there. And your brain will short circuit you because your brain's job is to keep you comfortable. Your brain doesn't want you to experience pain. It's to take you away from pain and towards comfort. Climbing the mountain is uncomfortable. And it's looking at that peak says, we can't do that. It's like running a marathon, right? There's no way we can do that. The answer is, if you take one step at a time for long enough, you can complete a marathon. Same thing with climbing a mountain, right? You're looking at just the next step. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. You can build the biggest wall in the world, one brick at a time. And that is true, okay? There's the other saying, well, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. There's lots of different sayings out there like that. But it's just, what's the next step? And each day moving consistently forward. And the beautiful part of this is going to be the fulfillment you're going to feel as a human being. Why do you feel fulfillment? Did you get to your goal? No. You took a step towards it. One tiny step consistently each day, and your brain goes, hey, give a little dopamine hit, a little oxytocin release. We moved forward today. We moved forward. When your brain gets frustrated is when you're treading water. And that happens to a ton of people. Now, look, this doesn't just happen in business. This happens in relationships. This happens in your health. This happens in your friends, your spouse, your kids, right? You can get stagnant. And there's no fulfillment going either way because we're not moving forward towards a goal that we have together as what we would have. So I would argue you should have family goals, right? That you share with your family. Like, here's what we want to do together. Here's how we're going to get there. Here's what we're going to do each day to move forward, and watch your family relationship lives take off. But let's stick with business right now. Number 8, organize your list into a plan. You're going to create a plan because look, you have a sequence. Some things you have to do before you do other things, and in what order, right? People get things all twisted all the time. They get it all out of whack, and they start working on something that's at the end because it seems more satisfying than they do something. I'll give you an idea, right? Lead generation, right? You need to generate leads. Well, people want to go out and they want to buy all the software and do all the things and get all that set up and set up their profile and things like that when they haven't even taken the first step, which is deciding which service they're going to use and checking around with people to see which one works so that you can make sure your dollar, that the money you spend right now on your marketing has to be dialed in, and you need to make sure that it's performing for you, okay? And how about this? Priority. What is more important and what is less important? The 80-20 rule is very important. It says this: 80% of your results will come from 20% of your activities. The problem is, for most of us, the 20% activities that give us the 80% of the results are the ones that A, we're not good at, and number 2, we don't like doing. We heard it earlier, your weakest skill is the one that is going to determine how far you go, how much income you have, and how much fulfillment you get. And it's probably the 20% activity that's going to drive all the income and all the business and everything that you need. But it's something you don't like, and it's something you suck at probably, and you have to work on it, okay? So great, 80-20 rule, 20% of the activities produces 80% of the results. All right, make a plan. Organize your list into a series of steps from the beginning all the way through the completion of your goal. By the way, these 14 steps sound like they can take long. I'll challenge you this. I bet you can sit down in an hour of focused activity and knock this out. Sounds like a lot. It's not. Once you sit down and read through this and decide where you want to go, you can knock this out in an hour. Okay? When you have a goal and a plan, you increase the likelihood of achieving your goals by 10 times. This is scientific research that they have done studying Harvard MBAs, business grads, Harvard people, right? Probably very book smart, maybe not street smart, but at least book smart, right? And they studied them and they followed them for decades based on this research with written goals. And this is where all this stuff comes from. You need to have it, okay? Here's a great saying. Plan each day, week, and month in advance. Plan each month at the beginning of the month. Plan each week the weekend before, and plan each day the evening before. Why are we starting this in December? I think it's November 30th, but basically it's December 1st here. Because if you wait until January 1st to start working on this, well, first you'll probably be partying, celebrating, watching football and stuff. So if you started on the 2nd, by the time you get all this together, it's already February 1st. You've lost 1/12 of 2023 already gone. So we're starting it now, baby. Setting up our plan for 2023, planning out our year, mapping it out. Each month, at the beginning of the month, you will have January planned out by the end of December, all of it mapped out. Each week, the weekend before, and each day, the evening before, you're going to start using a calendar. What? A calendar? Yes, a calendar, an online calendar you can use. Just use a Google Calendar. It works great. Okay. The more careful and detailed you are when you plan your activities, the more you will accomplish in less time. Remember that thing I said you want to make more money but have more free time? I mean, some of the most miserable Stacey and I ever were in real estate was the years when we were selling the most houses. Between the two of us closed 134 houses back in 2003. Okay, that was a lot of closings. We had no life. We made a lot of money, but we were miserable because all we did was ever work, right? So you want to be able to make more money, but also have more free time. And so it requires planning. You need to be deadly with your time. You need to have people respect your time, and you need to have things down on a calendar as to what's going to have, and you block the most important things in. That's another mojo call for another day, time blocking, but that's very important, having it planned out. Here's the rule. Each minute spent planning saves 10 minutes in execution. So is it worth planning your day out in advance, your week out in advance, and your month out in advance? Yes, it is. Okay. All right. 4 more steps. Select your number 1 most important task for each day. Here's the thing. Oh, this applies to realtors, right? I did a video on YouTube way back years ago with JJ Salinger. It was 182 things that realtors do that buyers and sellers don't know about. All this 182 different things done behind the scenes that no one sees or knows about. And here's the problem, is those are there in front of you each day. But what is your number 1 most important task for each day? I would argue this. It's lead generation. Now, you may have your leads tight. You may be having so many leads coming in you can't handle them and you need to dish them out to other people. But I would argue for 99% of the realtors on here, it is lead generation. Real estate is not just going to drop in your lap anymore for the next couple of years. We're going to weed out. See, a lot of realtors are going to get out of the business because somebody moved their cheese. Who moved my cheese? Those of us who stick around are going to need to get deadly accurate with our time, have everything in writing, make every marketing dollar produce, and then we're going to work single-mindedly every single day on the most important tasks, right? So say your priority is using the 80-20 rule, he says. Ask yourself this question. This is a great question. If I could only do one thing on this list, which one activity is most important? Whatever you answer that question, put a number 1 next to that activity and go through your entire list of things that you need to do and work on those. But what if I could only do one thing today? Out of all those things on there, what is it that has to be done? And then get after it and work on it single-mindedly and focus and concentrate on that piece, okay? Focus means that you know exactly what it is that you want to accomplish, and concentration requires that you dedicate yourself to doing only those things that move you towards your goal, okay? The rule is this, we said before, it's worth saying again. Each minute spent in planning saves 10 minutes in execution, okay? What does that mean? If I'm going to lead generate, maybe I'm going to get a hold of, maybe I'm going to do videos to my sphere of people in my Facebook group, okay? And each day I'm going to do a happy birthday video to them on Facebook Messenger. Facebook sorts it out. They let me know whose birthdays it is. It makes it super simple, right? The planning is this. I'm going to plan that each day. And here's when I'm going to do it. No matter what, I'm going to get it out of the way because I'm going to reach out. I'm going to touch my sphere. I'm going to build a fence around my people so that if they're thinking about real estate, they're not calling any other agent. They're going to be working with me. 82%, by the way, of family, friends, and past clients would use you as a realtor if it was top of mind awareness for them that you're a realtor, because they forget who you are. They forget you're in the business. Your family and friends will forget you're in the business if you're not reaching out to them properly. Okay, another video, another time. Move on, Jim. Stay focused. Number 11, develop the habit of self-discipline. See, once you've decided on your most important task, resolve to concentrate single-mindedly on that one task until it is 100% complete. Let's go back to the lead generation, the birthday things. This is one of your tactics you're going to do. You're going to connect with people on their birthdays with a video. You've got 8 people's birthdays today, right? You have 5,000 Facebook friends. You've become a public figure on Facebook. And today, 8 people's birthdays. You don't get up until you've done those 8 videos and it's done, because you know it is that important to connect with your sphere that everybody in your Facebook list you connect with at least once a year. At least once a year on their birthday. Hopefully more often than that, but at least once a year. You know it's that important that you're in their face. And they remember, they get to see your face, hear your voice, and you get to say something nice to them, okay? You don't stop until it's complete. Your ability to select your most important task and then work on it single-mindedly without diversion or distraction will double and triple the quality and quantity of your output and production. And it will happen overnight. This is not something that, oh, it's going to take years to build up. This is overnight. If you were able to pick today, your number one priority today, and work on it without diversion or distraction, and by the way, we're going to create it on a list of what it is for you, and you work on it, you will double and triple the quality and quantity of your output and your productivity overnight. This is an instantaneous change. Change happens in an instant, according to Tony Robbins. It's saying, I'm going to do it, having the plan in place, and then execution. And that's where we're going to go. Single-handedly is one of the most powerful of all time management techniques. Here's the thing nowadays, we are technology, attention deficit disorder. My phone buzzes, I look at it, right? I go to put up my social media posts for the day, and now I'm in a rabbit hole and I'm watching cat videos. It happens, and it happens to all of us. Single-handedly touching one thing one time and being done with it for the day, and you don't have to do it again until the next day, right? So you got the 8 videos you're going to make for your birthday. You do 2 of the videos, somebody interrupts you, and now you're off. And then, oh my gosh, yeah, I forgot to do my videos at noon. You're trying to squeeze them in at lunch. You get 2 more, and you still have 4 more to go. You've touched it too many times, and now you're maybe getting the task done, but you're not getting it done and getting more time and quality back in your life. Okay, number 12, practice visualization on your goals. You need to create clear, vivid, exciting, emotional pictures of your goals as if they were already a reality. Now, we're going to talk about this as to how that works, but the goal of I want to sell more houses is not specific enough. And what does that goal do for you? Okay. Selling more houses does what? Does it pay off all your debt? Does it give you some awesome friggin' vacations? Does it buy you that car you've always wanted? Does it buy you the boat you wanted? What does it do? You need to have clear, vivid, I love this word, exciting and emotional pictures of your goals. Maybe you want to get a different house. Well, what house does it buy you? Do you have that house picked out? Do you know where it's at? This is the house I would buy. This is the beach it would be on. This is what it will look like. Here's what the colors would be. In fact, here's the address of it. This is the house I'm going to buy. And you have that visualization set up. That's another Mojo time call for another time. It's called vision boards, where you can actually see what your goals, if you accomplish your goals and you do the activities to get your goals, what does that produce? That type of visualization creates an emotional, and it causes your brain to drive you, and it helps with the discipline, okay? But you need to see your goals as if it were already achieved, okay? That's key. Most people say, I want to lose weight. That's not a specific enough goal. You have to, when you talk to yourself, we're going to get into this here in a second, as if it's already achieved. I am healthy and fit and weigh X amount of pounds. You say it as if it has already happened, and it's on writing as if you already happened, and you're going to read it to yourself to program this thing called the computer we have up here in our brains. And maybe it was losing weight, right? How are you going to feel when you've done that and you are in that shape that you envision, that you can see, and what you look like in the mirror when you see yourself? How are you going to feel? And that's the emotional behind it. Combined with that, okay? Visualization is perhaps the most powerful faculty available to you to help you achieve your goals faster than you ever thought possible. All right, 13 is the goal setting exercise. And this is where we get into it. If you're watching this video later, you can always pause it as we're going through this. I'm going to go through it to shorten this thing up. So we're already at 40 minutes. And then you'll be able to pause this as you go through it. And for those of you who are downloading this is where you get into the nitty gritty. Okay, this is it. This is where you either take action or you just put it off for another time, for another person to be more successful, to have a better life, to have more money, to be in better shape, to have better relationships. You just say, you know what, they can have it. I don't deserve it. That's what you're saying if you don't do this, okay, to yourself, right? You would never say it to your kids or anything. Why would you say it to yourself? Here we go. Goal setting exercise. You're going to take out a clean sheet of paper. You're going to write the word goals at the top of the page. Simple, right? Along with today's date. And you're going to discipline yourself. Discipline, ooh, ugly word, right? But discipline yourself to write out at least 10 goals that you'd like to accomplish in the next year or in the foreseeable future. Now, here's how you write it. Don't just start writing, I want to be rich. It's going to go like this. Begin each goal with the word I. You must be first person, I, okay? Then you're going to follow the word I with an action verb. It cannot be a future. It must be in present tense, okay? I weigh X amount of weight, right? Even though that's not where you're at, right? I earn a certain amount of money, even though it hasn't happened yet. But your brain cannot tell the difference. This is part of following him along on Audible and things like that, where they prove the science of this. If you don't want to do all that, you can just do this and buy in 100%. Must be in present tense. Not I will lose weight. The will is a wish. It is not a present. It's hard to do. When you go through this and do it and share your goals with somebody so that they can see how you've written them, it's hard to do it. It's really hard. Okay, so present tense, right? You're going to use a command verb, and it's going to be present tense as if it's already been achieved. And here's an example. I earned this number of dollars by the end of this year. Then it needs to have a deadline. When does this happen by? It needs to be time bound, okay? For example, if your goal is to get a new car, you would say, I drive such and such new car by such and such date, right? I drive a Maserati by July of 2023. There you go, okay? That would be a written goal, right? Finally, when you write down your goals, always write them in the positive tense. This is a tough one too. You don't say, I will quit smoking. First of all, the word will is in there. Will is a future word. It's a wish. Doesn't mean you're going to do it. And quit smoking. It has a negative connotation to it. You would say this, I am. The two most powerful words in the English language, by the way, is I am. It sets you up. It says it, I am, okay? A non-smoker. There you go. I am a non-smoker. Not, I'm trying to quit smoking or I will, right? No, that doesn't work. I am a non-smoker. That's how you identify. That's in your brain. I'm a non-smoker. I would never touch a cigarette because I am a non-smoker. Got it. Okay. Always state your goals as if they were already a reality, as though you had already accomplished them. This activates your subconscious and superconscious minds to change your external reality so it's consistent with your commands. And here's the last one, okay? After all of that, this is the key. We need to decide upon your major definite purpose. Once you've written out a list of all 10 goals, ask yourself this question. If I could wave a magic wand and achieve any goal on this list within 24 hours, which one goal would have the greatest positive impact on my life? Now think about that. This takes some thinking. I've written 10 goals down, right? Maybe I want the car. Maybe I want to sell 100 houses by the end of December 2023, right? I wouldn't say I would say I sell 100 houses by the end of December 2023. I sell, right? You have 10 of them. If you could wave the magic wand and just have it happen overnight, which one would have the greatest positive impact on your life? Maybe you're really unhealthy right now. Maybe that is the most important thing, because it doesn't matter how much money you make, because you're in a position where you're not going to be around anyways, right? Maybe it's that. Maybe your relationship is in a crisis, and no matter how much money you make and weight you lose and shape you get into, the relationship's got to be fixed, right? That's not going well. Whatever it is, what will have the greatest positive impact on your life? Okay, whatever that your answer to that question is, put a circle around that goal, then transfer that goal to the top of a clean sheet of paper. Again, writing again, another one, right? Here's Brian, he's just put this, always state your goals as if they were already a reality, as though you had already accomplished them. Okay, your major definite purpose, the 1 out of the 10 that would change your life forever, you're gonna write it down clearly and in detail, okay? Let's just say it's selling 100, let's just say it's 50 houses, closing 1 a week, right? 2-week vacation, 1 house a week, 1 closing a week. You're going to write that down clearly and in detail. Simple, right? Simple to do, but also simple not to do. When things are very simple like this, people don't do them because your brain says, oh, it's too simple to do it. It doesn't carry any weight because it's simple. We try to complicate things as adults, okay? All right. Set a deadline on your goal and set sub-deadlines if necessary. Okay, so your goal is 50 closings by the end of 2023. That's your goal for 2023 in houses. The problem with that is you might need to set some sub-deadlines, because if you just set 50 houses for 2023, what happens at the end of January if you've closed 0? You're behind the 8 ball now, right? What happens in February? You've closed 1. You need to do 49 more in the next 10 months. You need to have monthly, in my opinion, as real estate agents, we need to have at least monthly goals. What are we going to accomplish within that goal? So you set sub goals, okay? Identify the obstacles that you have to overcome to achieve your goal. Identify the most important one, internal or external, okay? The number 1 obstacle you have in selling more houses is not the fact you don't know how to sell houses, right? As realtors, we don't sell houses. Houses sell themselves. We have to have more leads. Lead generation. That's my opinion, and you'll hear me harping on that through this whole thing. There's others you're going to come up with. That's one of the biggest things you need to have. You need to have more leads. Where's that going to come from? That's a huge obstacle. No leads, no money. Lots of leads, you can make lots of money if you work them right, okay? Now, identify the knowledge and skills you will need to achieve your goal and the most important skill you will have to become excellent in. So let's say it's lead generation. Let's just stick with that right now. What knowledge and skills will you need to achieve your goal? Now, you may need to learn Google pay-per-click advertising. You may need to know how to create a Facebook ad. You may need to learn how to connect better with your sphere of influence. You may need to learn how to ask for referrals better. I think that's a huge one. Getting really good at appropriately asking your sphere of influence for referrals. Who do they know that needs to buy some or invest in real estate? How do you get to that point without pissing them off and pushing them away? How do you create a super fan? This is a whole nother training on everything. I'm just going through this, throwing this stuff out there to you. How do I need that knowledge and skill. Now, how do I get it? And what's the most important one out of all of those that I could become very excellent in that would generate me business right out of the gate, okay? Identify the people whose help and cooperation you will require and think about what you can do to deserve their help. Maybe you need mine and Stacy's help. Maybe you need Jay Nelson's help. Maybe you need the Icon agents and EXP's help. Maybe you need to get a coach. You need someone to drive your ass and pound you into submission to make you go. Maybe you need that, right? You need the kick in the butt. Who are those people that are going to help you and cooperate with you to help you get to where you want to go? Identify those people, okay? Make a list of everything you have to do to achieve your goal. Add to the list as you think of new things to do. So Stacey and I realized back in the shareholders convention that things were tightening up and we're going to need more leads. We're going to need more leads. And we also realized that probably the biggest missing skill set for our team was the ability to generate leads. And we put into place motion, the steps, goals to start being a lead generation factory where we can help farm them out to our group, our tribe, as Stacy calls you guys, not our team. We're not building the real estate team, but our tribe, right? Our people that are there, but leads, because most agents suck at it. And real estate's getting to a point where you're going to have to get deadly good at lead generation, warm inbound leads, right? Then you need to organize your list by sequence and priority, by what you have to do first and by what's most important. That's what we did. And we went out and we made those lists and we implemented those things in place. You're going to need to do that too. Okay. Then make a plan by organizing your list into steps from the first to the last and resolve to take action on your plan every single day. One step forward every single day, right? Small, smart choices repeated again and again and again over time yields massive results, called the compound effect. If you haven't read that book or listened to that, it's by Darren Hardy, Compound Effect. He proves to you mathematically how just little teeny tiny choices, and he uses different business things and stuff like that. He used to be a real estate agent, but one of his best examples it proved was the diet. Just by taking 300 calories a day away, spread out over a year and a half, completely transformed the guy's life, lost 40 pounds, just 300 calories a day. Nothing dramatic. Anyways, compound effect, read that, check it out. All right. Plan your goals in terms of the activities you will have to engage in to achieve it daily, weekly, and monthly in advance. Okay. Let's say, for example, you're like, you know what? I'm going to connect with my sphere in Facebook every single day, and I'm going to do it using the birthday method, sending them a birthday method. That needs to go in your calendar every day, daily, weekly, monthly, and have it planned out, mapped out in advance. No one touches it. This is what you do every single day, and you do it. Maybe it's your health you're working on, not business. Here's the days I go to the gym, right? I do high intensity interval training 3 days a week. The other 4 days a week, I do low end cardio. So whatever it is that you do, it has to go in, and then you're going to do that. Okay. Set priorities on your list and identify the most important thing you can do every single day to move most rapidly towards your goal. I would argue lead generation and lead generating it from your sphere of influence some way, somehow, so that you are actively talking with people, not passively just posting stuff on Facebook. That's passive marketing. I would argue actively marketing your sphere, asking them, first of all, building the relationship, and then asking them for who do they know, looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, and doing it properly so that you don't chase them away and have them running from you. They're drawn to you and they want to help you because they know, like, and trust you, right? Okay. And then discipline yourself to concentrate single-mindedly on the most important thing that you can do today until it's 100% complete. Practice single-handling with every major task. I would argue the most important task you can do today and fit into your busy schedule or plan it out in the next day or two, but make sure you do it, is to follow this goal setting program, okay? And then he's got a conclusion down here. You can set and achieve any goal. He's got stuff that he can sell you. But here's the deal is there's so much stuff nowadays that you get that's free. You don't have to pay for stuff, but it does help when you do it, right? Because when you put money into something, skin in the game is what they call it, right? You get into it with skin in the game. So let's do SMART goals, right? SMART goals, number one, S, SMART, stands for specific. Your goals must be specific. You cannot say, I want to sell more houses. There's no specificity to it. What number specifically in 2023, how many houses do you want to sell? Now, okay, they have to be measurable. M, measurable. You have to be able to measure. It has to be specific and you have to be able to measure it. The reason we're going to measure it, let's say it's 50. Let's just use that 50 number of closings, right? You have to know that if it's 50, I have to get moving right away in January to get 50 done. There's 50 weeks in the year. Remember, 2 weeks of vacation, right? 50 weeks in the year. That's one closing a week. That's very measurable. If week one goes by and I don't have a closing, now I'm lumping that in to the next week. And that's why we're getting started now. Because all the work you're going to put into lead generation, we're going to have another one of these talking about lead generation, that you're going to put in December. It's a very easy to touch your sphere in December. I'm getting off track on the lead generation. Trust me, we're going to put it into place now. You'll be rolling in January. Okay. So it needs to be measurable, okay? A stands for attainable. What do I mean by attainable? Many people will say, I want to make $1 million, or I'm going to make $1 million. That's fine if you made 500,000 last year. You could make $1 million in 2023, your goal. The idea is this: attainable should be 2 to 2.5 times of what you did the year before. Why does it have to be attainable? Because your brain will short circuit a lie that you tell it. If you sold 10 houses last year and you say, I'm going to do 100 this year, your brain's going to say it's a lie. Could it be done? It could, but your brain's going to short circuit you. You want to set your goal from 10 to maybe 25, 2.5 times, right? What you did. And then if you take off like a rocket into spring and you got 20 closings through April, guess what you're going to do? That goal just became 50 and you're going to rewrite it. And oh, darn, you crushed your goal and you're going to keep moving that. Okay. So it needs to be attainable. Same thing with losing weight, right? If you need to lose 50 pounds and you want to try to do it in a month, you're going to be dead, right? You can't do that. It takes how long to get to where you're at? You have to have a time bound as to how you're going to get there, right? So it needs to be attainable. Make sure you're the most specific, measurable, attainable. I'm writing these in the chat, by the way, so you'll be able to copy them, okay? It needs to be results oriented. And the results oriented is that we've talked about it before, is selling more houses. What are the results oriented? Well, you're going to have to take action steps to get there. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Well, I want to do 50 houses, 50 closings in 2023. Actually, that's a terrible written goal. I sell 50 houses by the end of December 2023. I sell, right? I sell. I'm telling my brain this is what I do. But you're going to have the results that it takes to get there. So you can't just say that's my goal and that's it. What action steps are you going to take to get there, right? Results oriented. So you're going to have to generate more leads. What are the action plans that are going to be in place to get that? And you're going to need to have those underneath that goal. Okay. I communicate with my Facebook sphere daily by reaching out to people on their birthdays with a video. There's a great free way to communicate with your sphere. That would be one way that's results oriented, moving you towards your specific, measurable, and attainable goal. Okay. And then the last one is time bound. And I'm going to post this now. Time bound. Okay. Time bound means there's a deadline and your results oriented ideas have a specific time associated with them. What did I say about reaching out to your Facebook sphere? How often does that happen? Every day. Every day. Now, you have 5 birthdays. You need to send 30-second videos to 5 birthdays. How long does that take you? 10 minutes? Right? Maybe you got to fix your hair up or something like that. Or as Stacy likes to do sometimes, she puts a funny face on the thing. They have these, what do you call those masks things you can put on? Funny filters. People laugh their asses off at it. It's great. They remember you. You know, if you didn't have time to do all your stuff, you can do that. It's the action that you're taking. It's results oriented. I reached out to them and I made that happen and I did it daily. It's time bound. Because remember, we're going to map out our day the night before. We're going to map out our week the weekend before. And we're going to map out our month the month before. So that we know what we're doing and how fast we're doing. And then we're going to track everything we have and say, you know what? I'm supposed to have 4 closings in January because my goal was 50. I know there's 50 weeks. I didn't have any. Then you have to look back and go, these actions that I did, first of all, were they the right actions? And if they were, how do I scale those up? Because I can always increase my activity. There's a book called The 10X Rule. I recommend everybody listening to it or reading that, but just talks about all out massive action, especially when we're coming into a shift like we're in right now, or if we've already shifted, all out massive action. If you send out 1 email newsletter a month, And yeah, maybe you're getting some of it, maybe you're not. Maybe you just send out an email newsletter every day. You need to take a piece of news article, what's going on out there that says interest rates are spiking. It's all this bad news, right? You get it off Market Watch or MSNBC or something like that, right? Business news. And you're going to refute it. And you're going to say, look, real estate's hyper local. This is the national news, but real estate is dependent on what's going on in your neighborhood. Hit me up if you want to talk about what's happening on your street to you and your neighbors. Maybe you're going to do that every day. You would put that out daily, right? This is the kind of action we're talking about. Digging in, knowing where you want to go, what specifically, where I want to go, and then taking that and measuring it down, and what are the actions I'm going to put in place daily, weekly, and monthly, and I'm going to hit those no matter what. And I'm going to do them like they're my job. And I would argue this, if you're not showing houses, if you're not, let's just go with the goal again of selling more houses, right? If you're not out showing houses and you're not at a closing, your job is lead generation right now. All in, all out, massive action to make sure you're not one of the people that will not be renewing their licenses in 2023. Otherwise, it will happen. We've seen it. We watched this movie before. And so that's it. That is the scientific method that very few people, 3% of people will do it. So there's how many people that are on here? There's 10 of you on here. That means one of you will do it if that's the case, which I know it'll be higher because everybody got up and jumped on here at 8 o'clock in the morning. On a Wednesday, we have other things you can be doing. This will change your life. It will change your kids' lives. It will change your spouse's life. It will change your best friends and your siblings' lives if they do the same thing. And if we help the people around us have better lives and we're part of their life, we have a better life too. So feel free to share this thing. I'm going to put it on YouTube. I hope everybody got something out of this here today. And it can and will change your life if you go through and do it. If you need any help, feel free to hit us up. Stacey and I are always here, as you know, if you want to go through your goals, if you want some constructive criticism, as far as your written goals is what you had, or maybe just you got a mental block, like I don't know what my major definite purpose is in life. Let's talk through it and let's work through it and see if we can figure it out. Stacey and I are here for that. It's probably the most fun part of real estate now for us after 25 years of doing this, and we've been in business for even more longer than that. But it's helping other people have that epiphany, that excitement of seeing where they can go and how they're going to get there and having the fulfillment in their life. So we love that part. That's like our favorite part now. So hit us up, and everyone have a great day. We're going to do the state of Ohio meeting now. If you're in Ohio, jump on there. It's 9:30 today, Stace, right? Nope, she's upstairs. I'm going to stop the recording.